try this one more time. Good evening. All right, man. I am so grateful to see everybody. This is an incredible night. Some of you all last night had a chance to come to the welcome reception, and we got a chance to hear from some NBA greats. One of them is playing tonight, and so he couldn't be here to join us tonight. So we said, okay, you got a game tonight, Chris. It's cool. We'll take it from here. But tonight we have our social justice panel, and so I'm Maoli Davis. And this is.
And I am Jana Johnson Davis.
So. I get to tell you about her, right? And so I want to make sure I don't miss anything. I always start in my introduction to my wife, Dr. Jana Johnson Davis. She is a graduate of the Florida A&M University. And they are fanatics. All right, just be clear. But she is a leader in education. She serves on the City of Decatur School Board and is been focused on equity in education. Actually got her PhD in leadership and change, and with a focus on Black girls' experience in our education system. And so I'm grateful we met when I was in the 8th grade. And somehow, Kobe, we done worked it out, man, until this day. And we still standing. On August 5th, it'll be 30 years. So. And we're always grateful for our friend Marty Monaghan, who we grew up with and who has been at times good counsel, sometimes not so good. But you'll hear from Marty later. He is the executive director of Black Man Lab, which will have conversation among Black men and boys tomorrow morning in this very space. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Jana, and we'll get ready to get started.
Thank you. So, as he said, this is Attorney Maoli Mel Davis. In Georgia, he's known as the liberation lawyer.
That's right.
And Clark, Atlanta, he's known as Professor Davis, senior lecturer. In some spaces, he's known as coach. At the Naval Academy, he was known as Tricks, the point guard.
Right, Tricks.
And I like to call him my boyfriend from the 8th grade. And so thank you all for being here. Now we're going to call up our guests. No. I'm sorry. We are so honored to have the Divine One, and I went all over that just 5 minutes ago. I'm sorry. The Divine One, double platinum artist who's going to come and bless us with the song.
All right.
God bless y'all. Thank y'all so much for having me.
Thank you.
Again, I am the Divine One, originally from Chicago.
Chi-town.
And I'm going to be singing a song called It's Working.
It's working.
There's so much going on in the world today, but God is doing it for our good, and I praise Him for that. Let me just sing. the ground. God's blessing, no more stressing. I got a seed in the ground. Now I'm knowing and showing. This is my seed. Yeah. Praise, praise, favor. This is my seed. Yes, it is. To reap what I have sown. This is my seed. My season for grace, favor. Yes, it is. This is my seed. To reap what I have sown. 'Cause everything is working together for my good. Yeah. And everything is working, yes it is. Together. It's working for my good. Every little thing is working together for my good. Satan is big. Everything is working, yes it is. For my good. It's good, say it's good. Hey, you're working for my good. So good, real good. Said it's working for my good. It's good, y'all. Mighty good. Mighty good. Hey, it's working for my good. To walk in faith. To hold on, your healing, it's in your season for grace, for favor. This is your season to reap what you have sown. Your healing is working, your deliverance is working. My Savior is leaning in my direction. Say he's leaning. He's leaning. God is leaning in my direction. He's working out a plan for you. You know what I'm saying? He's leaning. God is leaning. Yes, he is. In my direction. Don't worry about tomorrow. Because God is this is your season for grace. Oh, what a favor. This is my season. This is my season to reap what I have sown. I got a seed. Please, let's give another round of applause to the fine woman.
Man, I know some of you all are saying, I thought I was just coming for a basketball game. But the HBCU All-Star experience is so much more than a game because HBCUs are so much more than schools. They are safe, sacred, healing spaces where our children, beginning before our emancipation, if you go back to Lincoln University, before emancipation, we're able to gather, learn, organize, and build. And so for us, it's not compartmentalized between sports over here and organizing over there. It's all together. And if we are true about it, I just give you one quick historical fact because I know there's some historians in the building. There was a football player at Morehouse College. And I know we got some Morehouse folk in the house. So I'm going to give him some flowers. But at Morehouse College, there was a football player. And he decided after 4 black students at Greensboro, at North Carolina A&T did a sit-in on February 1st, 1960, there was a football player, an athlete, a athlete at the HBCU who said, we got to do the same thing. His name was Lonnie King. And that same Lonnie King eventually convinced Dr. King, convinced I'm telling y'all now, you got to read the history, convince Dr. King, walk out with us, march with us, Dr. King. He had just come back to Atlanta. And so I just want us to connect the dots that our student athletes, our HBCUs have incredible power. And so we can't compartmentalize because that is not our way as African people. Everybody all right? Everybody. So we're ready for an incredible conversation that is right for this moment. And the Divine One led us in. This is our season. It may not feel like it because we just saw, if you check your 401k, it don't feel like it, right? And if you saw the executive orders, it might not feel like it. But we know the kind of folk that we are, and we have the honor of bringing forward a nationally renowned panel of not just voting rights. They are empowerment organizers. They empower us in many different ways. And so we ask that they would come now. Brother Attorney Reverend Francis Johnson, come on forward. Come on up. Y'all can give him a round of applause. Our sister April England Albright, Black Voters Matter. Our brother, my bow tie brother, even he's in a different fraternity, we still love each other. Brother Daryl Jones, come on, Transforming Justice Coalition. And then one of the deans of voting rights and voting litigation and fighting, Miss Barbara Arnwine. Come on forward, Sister Barbara Arnwine. Been on the battlefield for many, many years across this country. And so we want them to give us their 60-second introduction about the organizations that they work with, because they work all across the country and they work in our interests. And some of y'all may have never heard some of their names, but when Georgia turned blue, these folks were a part of that. And we could just do a roll call of all of the instances that they've impacted this country and our community in profound ways. And so we just welcome them to share a little bit about their background, and then we're going to delve into some questions as we move forward. And Brother Quaylen, if you can keep our brothers in the back, yeah, we're going to hold it down. There we go. All right, you want to start us out, brother?
Can you all hear me? Yes. All right, fantastic. I'm Attorney Daryl Jones. I'm out of Maryland. Our office is in Washington, D.C. I'm the board chair and the co-leader of the Transformative Justice Coalition. And some folks here are just wondering, what is the Transformative Justice Coalition and what do y'all do? What's it about? Has anyone heard the name Ahmaud Arbery? All right. The Ahmaud Arbery case in Brunswick, Georgia. That family, I still have 15 seconds. That family was not going to go forward with the prosecution of his killers. They felt as though they were in rural Georgia, and they were afraid of what would happen to them if they tried to prosecute the 3 white killers of Ahmaud Arbery. Barbara Arnwine and I went down to Brunswick, Georgia, just by happenstance, because we were down there for an election, pushing for people to register to vote, and came across the matriarch of the Arbery family, who sat us down and said that we needed to meet her brother, Marcus Arbery, to talk to the family. And it was in that conversation that we made the promise to them.
Come on now.
That wherever they were in the case, if they were called into a courtroom, we would be there right beside them. That we would rally the community to the best of our ability. And I don't need to tell you the end of this story.
Yeah.
Because the end of the story is the community rallied.
That's right.
But not just the community, but the state,
Yeah.
the country.
Yeah.
We had reverends that came all across the country to fill a courtroom to sit with this family. So the Transformative Justice Coalition, we're grassroots. We're not 10,000 feet in the sky looking down, telling people what they theoretically should do. We're down on the ground, sometimes beneath the ground in the trenches, wherever we need to be. So that's who we are, and that's who I am. Thank you.
All right. Right.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
It is so good to be in San Antonio.
All right.
We are so excited about the HBCU All-Star Game. The Transformative Justice Coalition that I have the honor to co-lead with my brother Daryl Jones. I want you to know that we will be 10 years old in June. So we are celebrating our 10th anniversary. You know, one thing Black folks know is that our history has taught us that one defining aspect of who we are is that we make a way out of no way.
Come on. That's true.
And when I said I was going to create the TJC, the Transformative Justice Coalition, 10 years ago, people laughed. You know, people can be cruel. You know, they'll laugh to your face when they just think they can get you down. But I had a vision. And, you know, the people perish without vision. But when you got vision,
Come on.
you can conquer anything. And especially when you have the ability and the will and the divine grace that's in your soul to just fight forward. And it is so important that as we sit here right now in this moment in time, that we're clear about who we are and what we must do and what we can accomplish. So, you know, I always remind people, our grandparents are for their parents saw worse than we ever seen.
Oh, Lord.
You know, and if we can't do what they did, in spite of all those odds, but one good thing, because Daryl and I, one of the best parts of TJC is that we train young people to be powerful voting rights advocates. And since 2016, we have trained over 600 plus young people. And so on your table is this pamphlet about us, about TJC, the Transformative Justice Coalition. You can find out more. But one thing those young people said last week, because we have a continual communication network with them, and they were really delighted that they were able to beat back some ugly stuff in Louisiana. And one thing they said over and over and over and over in that beautiful chat was, we got this. This is our moment. We're ready. So let's get with it. Thank you.
All right.
I'm Mario Chavez. That's what those folks should be up there. That's commission. Okay.
So I'm April, and I'm with Black Voters Matter Fund. And I emphasize that because we do a lot of things as an organization. Paring it down simply, we are working in 10 states where we actually have staff who are organizing amongst other community groups that are focused on building political Black power. In 10 states, from Alabama to Florida to Georgia to North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, Louisiana. We are also in Pennsylvania and Michigan and Ohio. But what we do is we organize alongside, but we have a fundamental belief that we need money. That we need money to pair with the organizing work that we do. And so in the past, I want to say 7 years, we've been able to give away $60 million to Black grassroots organizing groups. But we don't just give out money, right? Part of our goal is to make sure in giving the resources that our organizations that are based in our communities are getting stronger, right? And are building capacity. So we provide a lot of resources to help them amplify and grow stronger in what they do. But we also get down ourselves, right? Because we are a part of the community and we do need to answer the call for now.
Yes.
So we as an organization will also hold protests.
Yes.
right? We'll get arrested,
Oh, yes.
right?
I'm arrested.
You know, because the moment, whatever the moment calls for, right, to build our movement, we have to be able to respond. So that's who we are in this moment, and that's what we will continue to do, even in the face of now. We intend on continuing to fund our movement for liberation in this country. All right.
It is good to be in San Antonio.
Yes.
And from the moment I walked into Tony G's, I've watched and looked at this statement on the wall. Every day is like Sunday. It's a phrase that I'm familiar with from rural Georgia, where it was a euphemism that came about of a promise that if we fought for our freedom, because Sunday was the only day that they were free, every other day was a day of work for a master, but on Sunday they had some measure of freedom. That's a statement of liberation.
Oh, yes.
And so I come to you as the former chair of the New Georgia Project and former president of the State Georgia Conference of the NAACP, having served in a legacy organization as well as a new generation organization fighting for that same kind of freedom. Still involved in the New Georgia Project, and where the New Georgia Project finds itself right now is in the midst of its own sort of battle for its life, even as our community is fighting for its life. And that's primarily because we were organized as an attempt to engage in a bloodless coup in the hopes that this democracy could live up to what it promised. That if we registered people to vote, and we have registered 650,000 people in 11 years. You can say what you want, but you can't take that away. That if we did the work and set up offices all over the state, 13 offices, if we did the work and funneled $45 million into communities to empower themselves, that we could go to the polls and cast an unfettered ballot. And while we were doing all of that, we filed 15 federal lawsuits that put more than 1 million people back on the rolls in Georgia. After they were taken off the rolls, we fought every single voter suppression tactic that they threw at us, and we came within 50,000 votes of sitting a black sister by the name of Stacey Abrams in the governor's mansion of Georgia. And when you go up against powerful, racist white folks, you cannot expect that they will leave you alone, even if they steal and win an election. And so we are in that kind of fight, and I understand who we are as a part of that fight. And so the next few months for us as an organization will be very telling, because Leader Abrams is under attack. We are under attack. The President of the United States called her name in a joint session of Congress.
That's right.
And after that, death threats came to my house. My car was disabled. We faced all kind of threats, internal and external. But this is what I want you to understand. This is what I want you to understand. No cross, no crown. No pain. You cannot say a statement like every day is like Sunday and not expect to get to that Sunday through some sleepless nights, some sacrifice, and some suffering. But on this night, when 57 years ago, a prophet to this world died in Memphis, Tennessee, murdered by this government in conspiracy with the same white supremacists that are flipping stuff over right now, and will lift his name and use his words to drive their nasty bargain. We have to learn again the word sacrifice. But those same folks who taught me the phrase every day is like Sunday also said this, and if this is familiar to you, just lift your hands. Through many dangers toils, and snares.
Yes.
There's some grace in this room. I felt that grace. You were drawing from a deep well of grace when you sang. Oh my God, there's a deep well of grace, and I look forward to us not just talking about politics, who gets what, when, where, and if you get it at all, but talking about the grace that is on us in this moment to rise to the occasion that one day future generations will speak of us like we speak of King and Ida B. Wells and the others who came before us. May it be so.
I want to say amen. Thank you, friends. We have one more person that's going to come up and
Come
join
on,
our
Commissioner.
panel.
Y'all, let's give it up. Commissioner Calvert has been incredible. Thank you, brother. He has been absolutely incredible supporter of the HBCU All-Star experience, every aspect of it. And so when we had a chance to meet face to face last night, I was just like, we pointed at each other like, yeah, I get it, you know, that brother love. And so thank you so much, Commissioner, for all that you, not just what you've done for HBCU All-Stars, but what you do here in this beautiful place that we are now part of your family, if you don't mind. Can y'all adopt us? That's all right, Lisa. We good? So if you would, give us some remarks, a welcome as well, and then join us in this conversation around where do we go as we vote, as we organize in this moment.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Well, thank you all very much. Thank you, Attorney Davis, both of you. Thank you, beautiful family, and thank all of you for coming. I will be brief and be gone. On behalf of the people of San Antonio, home to the largest Martin Luther King March on the planet.
That's right.
Where we annually gather 300,000 people marching in these streets for the issues Dr. King died for. Because we believe that the greatest way to carry on his legacy is not to parade, but to get to marching in the streets for the issues that he died for.
Yes.
So I want to just thank these social justice leaders that are here on the front lines, that are here in this audience, these civil rights icons that are here, all the family of HBCU coaches and people of the HBCU family that are here, all of the friends of the All-Star Game. Thank you. Thank you, Tony Gradney in the back, and Joe Linson. Thank you all so much for hosting us. We appreciate you. But we came to slam down white supremacy too. Not just slam down that fried chicken. But we came to slam down some white supremacy too.
Yes, all right.
And I want to thank every luminary who battles in that world. We salute you and your sacrifice, because it is a sacrifice to fight for justice. As the co-chair and host, it's my duty to set everyone's table tonight. I'm sorry I was a little late. I've been at the job. So let me slam down and get right to the meat and potatoes.
Yes, sir.
Y'all ready to eat?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me feed you this. President Elon Musk,
Call them.
his grandfather, Joshua Haldeman, was from Canada and part of a political movement called Technocracy Incorporated.
That's correct.
Which took on fascist overtones, Councilman Salas. And Technocracy Incorporated was a movement to overthrow democratic governments in the United States and have big business and technocrats come in and run the country. And he did this in response to FDR and the New Deal. They started wearing gray uniforms modeled on the Nazi brown and black shirts. And so when the country he lived in, which was Canada, declared war against Germany, Nazi Germany in 1939, alongside Britain, the movement there that Elon's grandpa was a part of was banned because they were sympathizers to Hitler.
That's right.
Then Elon's grandfather is arrested, and the police find documents sympathetic to the Nazis and other subversive documents inside the house. Are y'all walking with me on this?
Yes.
Okay.
Set the
There's
table.
a reason we're setting the table.
That's right.
When that didn't work out, his grandfather immigrated to racist South Africa
That's right.
from Canada
That's right.
in the 1950s to help kickstart the apartheid laws, which were reminiscent of Nazi Nuremberg. And all those laws against the Jews. They stripped black people from the right to work in certain places, Doge, their movements, controlling them, and confining them to areas. Then Elon's father came to South Africa without a lot of money.
Come on.
But he got into investments with emeralds, emerald mines in Zambia. And Musk grew up as a result in a colonial life with black servants at his beck and call. Came without much, left with a yacht, Councilman. Left with several homes on the back-breaking labor of blacks who often died in those mining shafts
That's
for
right.
emerald.
That's right.
That's the hot potato we're serving tonight. But I forgot to tell y'all about the fried chicken. We got to set the table. On April 4th, 2023, the Washington Post wrote an article about Donald Trump's dad, Fred Trump,
Okay.
whose arrest on Memorial Day in 1927 at a brawl that erupted with sympathizers of the Italian fascist movement and the Ku Klux Klan in the Bronx. There in Queens, 1,000 white-robed Klansmen marched through the neighborhood, and one of the 7 arrested was Fred Trump. Since we're amongst the finest HBCU friends in the nation, I'm going to serve y'all your plate with this Popeye spinach I'm about to give. I know y'all can put one and one together. We are not in a drill in America.
Say that.
We have a country in the midst of a coup of white supremacist fascists. And so when it comes to talking about voting rights, educational rights, human rights, civil rights, this panel is just in time for a grand feast of clarity about who and what we're really dealing with. As a Democrat, some people have been in the country confused about what to do. I can clearly say the first line of offense is boycotts and the courts. But elected officials must understand the depths of what it means to swear the same oath the military does, to swear the same oath that our law enforcement does, the same oath actually every citizen swears, which is to uphold the laws and the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So help me God. So help me God. I come from the son of someone who was a member of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee and the Black Panthers, who once defeated the Jim Crow segregation laws of the dark ages of America. And so help us, God.
So help us.
So help us, God, through the leaders, all of you here today. We will be courageous in the battle. That is the front, that is in front of us at this very moment. And do, as this brother just said, rise like our ancestors of the Tuskegee Airmen. Rise like the Buffalo Soldiers of the 9th Cavalry. Rise like the 4 women of the Hidden Figures. To the moon shot our nation, a place our nation has never been before, where it is in a place of true peace, one brother, one sister amongst another, where we actually understand the science that we are 99.9% genetically the same, that race is a man-made thing. There is no black, no white, no brown. We are one race, the human race. That's where we need to head. That's some soul food for you, my friends. Now it's up to you how you digest it. Y'all come back for some dessert, maybe a nightcap too. I'm Tommy Calvert. I'm Bexar County's first Black commissioner in the history of this county. I am very proud to have helped give $125,000 to the HBCU All-Star Game.
Yeah.
Now we all need to do our part and tip the wait staff. Y'all have
Yes.
I can stay with you.
Yeah.
You bet. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, y'all all right?
Yeah.
All right. So, started squirming a little bit. He hit that white supremacy and boop boop. You know, hey, we in here. And the beauty, and I'm going to turn it over to Jamie to get our questions going. The beauty of what we're able to do is that when you say HBCU, certain doors swing open. And we're grateful that the doors of San Antonio have swung open so wide to welcome this experience, not just the game. So we know we're going to see everybody in here plus 100 of your friends on Sunday at 12 o'clock at the Coliseum, at Freeman Coliseum, right? Court looks good. Players were going hard today because they're ready. Now we saw them. They are ready to put on a show and show the world the best in Black basketball. So thank you, Commissioner Jamie. You want to get us kicked off? And
I will. And they talked about what's happening right now, and there's a lot of places that they could be right now doing some work. And I just feel like we need to give them one round of applause for being here. And so the name of this panel is A Brave New Day. And so our questions are going to be focused around what can we do right now to see this brave new day. And so I'm going to start off with April. Ooh. How has Black Voters Matter adapted its strategy in light of new voting legislation across southern states?
Well, I think I'll respond by saying the strategy really, we haven't pivoted. So I think that that's a strategy within itself.
Yep.
Right? Because historically, our struggle on this country has always been different than the pathway that America has taken, right? And what do I mean by that? I mean that we have always had to operate outside of what the law said we could do, right? Because at the end of the day, these voter suppression laws are reminiscent of the Jim Crow laws, right? Are reminiscent of the reconstructed constitutions after Reconstruction started that prevented us from being able to exercise. I mean, when we ask the question to people all the time, when did Black men in particular get the right to vote? Most folks say 1965, which is not true, right?
That's right.
It actually happened when the 15th Amendment in 1870.
That's right.
But it took that many years in order for the right to actually be manifested. So at Black Voters Matter, our position is that we have always made America do right. And so our strategy is to continue to do that. And we also recognize that voting is not our only tool for liberation.
Yes.
And we have to be real about that. Because even the Voting Rights Act didn't come about because our people went to the polls. It came about because our people went to the streets, right? And we celebrated the 60th anniversary just 2 weeks ago in Selma. Because that, and so our community has always recognized that we have to use all of our arsenal in order to get our rights here in this country. And so our strategy is to continue to follow that path and not to deviate from it. And then to not stop there, because those rights that have been enshrined in the Constitution through amendments, the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment that we cleave to, we understand at BVM that was only the floor. It was never meant to be the ceiling.
That's right.
And so in this season, talking about forging a brand new day, we as a people have to understand that our movement has to be for what's next. What is the country that we want? When Harriet Tubman was imagining for herself, right, what country did she want America to be? It was a country that didn't have slavery. Even though she had to liberate people who were enslaved. So excuse me. I'm in Georgia, and the pollen in Georgia is crazy. So the point is, we have to continue to follow that legacy. And that's what we're looking like. Thank you.
Either way, I want to chime on that question. In 28, so I helped replace the voting machines in Bexar County with a paper ballot trail. And in 2018, I received an anonymous call from someone who said, I am a technician, an IT person who works for the county, Bexar County. And if you would do a paper audit of the election, you will see that some of the people who got elected were not really elected. And I'm saying that to this group to say that when we watch the last presidential election and some of us felt like something just seemed so off, we have to actually appropriate the tools of the master. We're in neo-colonialist times. What is neo-colonial? We're in a new colonist times. They want to go after Greenland. They want to expand to Panama. They want to do all of this expansion around the world and set us back and control elections. And so what one has to do is understand the Republicans actually created a whole bunch of new laws around transparency that we need to be using better. Such as paper trails. The machine will spit out a paper trail. Here in Bexar County, our last elections administrator would never give us the paper ballot trail of our local elections. And you all should know that. You all should know that there was a lot of work that's being done around the counties. Counties is where if you don't have good people with integrity who uphold the rule of law, all rights derive from your voting rights. But we have tools that we're not using enough nationally to check the paper trail of what's going on in some of these elections. I say this to say that in my own precinct, in 2012, the first Hispanic mayor of the city of Converse told me this story. He was in the Associated Press. He was titled, well, I'll just say this. He lost the election. He ran for council. He lost the election, Mayor Al Suarez. And he told his friend, I got 100 undervotes. And his friend said, that's impossible. You're in a small town. You have 100 undervotes. That's never happened. I've never seen that. Go down to the elections department. So he goes down to Bexar County elections and he checks in with Jackie Calhoun. And that's their former elections administrator who would never give us a paper trail. And he tells her, he said she kind of looked ashamed and went back and they found a box. And so the candidate who lost was in the Associated Press as the candidate who actually won. So we've got to learn to use these tools. When LBJ in famous Box 13, they were talking about ballot issues in Box 13, his opponent was asked by the feds, do you want to press charges against LBJ? He said, no, we were doing the same thing. He can have it. And so I'm just saying, if things seem a little off, appropriate the tools of the master. Check the paper trail.
Thank you.
So there are legal strategies. I know we talk. We're at a point, it feels like, that we're just going to have to sue in certain situations that, the judge is coming down with rulings. Like, what are some legal strategies that are being discussed or implemented that we just need to be aware of? Because I was up at Harvard Law speaking to a group of young people, and they're scared, right? And they don't know what we're doing. They don't know, like, what are y'all doing, lawyers and public policy makers to really address this attack. So if you would share and anyone that wants to open up, but if you could start us out.
But Willie's trying to get me in trouble. And like any good fisherman, I'm going to take the bait. We were just having a discussion. Francis Johnson and April and Barbara Arnwine and I were all part of it. And Barbara, you can start elbowing me if you want. But it needs to be said. The National Bar Association is the largest black bar association in the world. Over 67,000 black lawyers. Barbara and I and one or two other individuals realized that the National Bar Association, in the middle of this attack on lawyers, in the middle of this attack on DEI, in the middle of this attack with all these executive orders being put out, that the National Bar Association has not stood up to say, we're going to sue you too. We're going to fight back. And so we proposed a resolution that said exactly that. And the resolution, we were told, they didn't think would get through the National Bar Association to stand up to this administration. They said that to the wrong people. Because the only thing they're saying to us is, y'all need to roll your sleeves a little higher, pull up your pants leg, put on your boots, and go get into the fight. Let me tell you why this is important to me. When we talk about the lawsuits, Barbara and I also have a radio show every Tuesday at noon Eastern Standard Time, Igniting Change. You can get it on barbaraonline.com around the country. But this past Tuesday, we had the discussion and we had the ACLU on board. And all the lawsuits that are being filed against this administration with all the illegal actions that they're taking, unconstitutional actions that they're taking. One of the most recent things is, and I want to tie this into what Commissioner Calvert was just talking about and Brother Johnson was talking about the voting rights. One of the most recent ones is an executive order dealing with voting rights. And what this executive order would do, and I just want to be certain that y'all get it, right? Because when I say that we're from the street, I mean, we go down into wherever we got to go to be certain that our community gets it. So I want to be certain you get it. What this executive order would do is this. I'm not going to call anybody out. If you are not a registered voter right now, one of the things that we love to do, and let me tell you, Black voters matter. You know, I'm never concerned about them because I know they're always right there by my side. If they're not by my left side, they're on the right side. If I don't see them there, I know they're behind me or in front of me. They're always there fighting with us. But I tell you, one of the things this executive order does, if you wanted to register to vote, you would have to go to an election official's office. You would have to have with you your passport or your birth certificate. You've got to present it in person to be able to register to vote. This is what we mean by voter suppression. The concept is if you're the minority party, the way that you gain control is by stopping the majority from being able to have access to being able to vote. That's what, and you're going to hear us talk about this SAVE Act. And it sounds really nice by its title, because it's talking about safeguard American voter eligibility. But in essence, what it does is just what I just said, and stopping you from being able to register. It would also turn over, and I'll stop it on this part. It'll also turn over, you heard the commissioner talking about all the voting machines and all the voting data. It would turn it over to the Department of Homeland Security. Why does the Department of Homeland Security need our voter information? They're not trained in it. That's not what they do. It's about control. So one thing that we want to talk about here today is being certain that our community understands that the fight that we're in is the fight to preserve your vote. the right to preserve democracy for the African American and the community of color. It all comes down to that voting right. And so we use the courts to raise it up and to push and push and push against these executive orders. But we need you. Because I tell you what, I can tell you now, as we said earlier, there'd be no Voter Rights Act if it wasn't for the people marching. The courts aren't going to do it because they feel as though it's the right thing to do or it'll be a nice thing to do. They need to feel the pressure, and the pressure comes from the community.
First of all, how many of you want Elon Musk to have your voting data? How many? No hands, huh? No takers? That's what the Trump executive order does. It says that Doge will be empowered and authorized and directed to review all of our voting information. Second thing, how many of you know someone who has married a woman and has taken her husband's name? Put your hands up. How many of you know? Under the Say That, if your birth certificate does not match your current ID, you can't vote. Think about this. All the women that you know of every race who would all of a sudden, because they're married and they've taken their husband's last name, would be barred from voting unless, and that unless is not answered. There is no recourse in the bill. There's nothing that says, well, you can do this and do that to establish your legitimacy to vote. There's nothing. This has been pointed out over and over and over again, and nothing's been done to correct it. Which means that the get back in the kitchen, raise the babies, that's all you good for, is back, folks. So I wanted to just add those two things. That's why next Monday they're having a hearing on the Say That. They're going to have the Rules Committee will be meeting to vote it out of committee. We need right now for you to take down this number. Right now. We want you to take this number down and spread it to everybody that you know on social media. And tell them that they need to right now call 202-224-3121. Right there? 202-224-3121. That is the congressional hotline. That's the switchboard. And you want to call and not only talk to your representatives, but anybody else. You can go to any congressional office off that switchboard, any senator's office, and I want you to call them and say, no Say That. No Save Act. You can say everything else you want to say to it. Because the one thing people don't tell you about our democracy, the way it works, our representative republic, the way it works, is that at the end of the day, guess what they do? They give a report to every one of their members, and they count all those calls that came in. And they count who said what. And the Congress right now is losing their mind because the voters are burning that switchboard up. And they're complaining about everything that we're all upset about. Medicaid, Social Security, everything else. And they don't care, they don't pay as much attention to the streets as they do to those calls. Please, did you hear me?
Say it again.
Everybody got that?
Say it again.
All right, 202-224-3121. I need you to call that line every day that you keep. I don't care if it's Saturday, Sunday, call that line. Make sure they hear you and make sure everybody you know, get the babies on the phone, get everybody on the phone. Let's make those calls. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. So this next question is for my brother, Attorney Johnson. As a activist, a grassroots activist, and organizer, and as the past leader of the New Georgia Project, what trends or what did you learn from the 2020 and 2022 election cycles that can inform our path forward?
2024, maybe?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But there was something we can learn from every election cycle. And certainly those election cycles are important. What I learned is in 2024 is that America is exactly what I thought she was. This is a country that is organized around white supremacy, dedicated to the proposition of white supremacy, and is ultimately going to uphold white supremacy. The parts to me that I was somewhat shocked about is how many of us feel as if our best interest is tied to our masters. Master, our house is burning. Master, our cotton needs to be picked. Master, who this black woman thinking she could be president? That's the part that shocked me. In 2025, there's so many of us see our interests tied to the master. And I speak in these kind of stark terms because that's exactly what it is. When you see black institutions that were dedicated to the proposition that every day is like Sunday, like the black church, and if you wonder why on your Facebook page, those preachers who had an appeal that primarily resonates in black women should not lead black churches, even though black women are the majority of black churches, I know I'm right about it. All of a sudden, 2 years before the election, that preacher was over all of your Facebook pages and Instagram pages, telling you about why black women should not lead and trying to show you in the Bible where it's not so. All of a sudden, black institutions that should have been dedicated, that were organized around the principle of inclusion and equity, black sororities and fraternities. All of a sudden, in my fraternity, the biggest thing we wanted to talk about was, can gay brothers join our fraternity? Like there hadn't been gay brothers joining our fraternity since 1906. And everybody else's fraternity. I'm just telling the truth, shame the devil. Okay, so why did this have to become such a big conversation? That organizations that were organized around the principle of the fact that all of our isms have a common root started talking about, well, if Obama hadn't focused so much on this, we could have got something. As if the isms aren't all the same. Racism and homophobism and xenophobism, they all have a common root, a political expediency, an economic incentive, some social maintenance, and all of these things are tied to a common root. If you don't understand that, then you fail to realize that Trump never could have gotten to where he was if we, as the black church, I'm talking about the black church, I've pastored the black church for 26 years, so I can speak to it. I've been a moderator of 43 churches in South Georgia for some time. I can speak to it. When George Bush ran with one hand out with money called faith-based initiatives, and the other hand with the Bible saying something about same-sex unions, and we fell for it, and that put Sam Alito on the court and John Roberts, and you thought that they would block same-sex marriage, but instead the first thing they came for was voting rights in Shelby in 2013. Then if you don't understand that we can't ever play this game of that our progress, black progress, has to be exclusive to anybody else's progress. And I think we played into that game thinking that we are somebody else. And so what shocked me about this election cycle is how many folks who believe that because of what you drive or where you might live or what job you might hold, that they somehow excluded you from being black.
All right.
Talk that talk, Francis.
You're on. We are we're gonna do a couple of questions for this panel. We have a second panel.
So don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. And we have a second panel. We also have in the building the co-founder of HBCU All Stars. I'm not gonna bring her up. It looks like she just started her meal. Y'all give it up for Sister Kaya Williams in the house, in the building, with the Williams family. And when we tell that story, man, y'all better be ready. You have to understand. We stay under attack. Her family, their family business, their vision was under attack, and it took community to come together. But it took a strong sister to stand with a strong brother and say, "This is ours."
Yes.
And they offered all, they offered little pennies. And she said, "Oh no, this is ours."
And I just want you all to say her name, because I know what it's like to be married to an attorney or to a guy who folks know his name and his lovely wife. We hear that a lot, but she's the co-founder.
All right.
Yeah. And so say Kaya Williams' name.
Kaya Williams. Kaya Williams.
Because she is a lovely wife, but she's also the co-founder.
That's right. All right, we're gonna have a couple of questions. Is everybody all right?
Yeah.
Good. We just wanted you to know that HBCU All-Star experience is like no other experience during this college basketball's biggest weekend. We do this. I mean, what you all just heard, right? I mean, these five, they live this life, right? And so we learn from them. We pray that you will walk away from this experience and do something. That's what HBCU All-Stars gain experience, all of it is about, is for us to do something that pushes us forward. All right. So I'm gonna walk out with the mic. We're asking you ask a question because we are on limited time. Tony G's has to shut down at some point, and we want everybody to be able to go home. But I'll bring the mic to anyone that has a question. All right, I'll bring it to you. Come on, Judge. Thank you.
You know, one of the things that I miss is being in Atlanta, in Morehouse, and hearing very intellectual people. Not that we don't have them here, but it's the Black intelligentsia that I appreciate. Now, I say that because I'm a fifth generation San Antonio. My father was born right down the street here. All right, my great-grandmother lived, my grandfather lived around the corner. We're part of this community. And one of the things I understood growing up in this community is that we were all part of the community, no matter what your station in life was. You know, whether you were proletariat, bourgeois, working class, whatever it was, we all worked together. And during the Civil Rights Movement, it was because of the Black middle class, the intelligentsia, that was able to move the agenda forward. But what's happened is that we have gotten comfortable, okay? And it's okay for everybody else to be in the fight. That's not our concern. When I left San Antonio, I never been around that many Black people. When I went to Atlanta, I was outside my comfort zone, okay? I had full scholarships at the University of Texas A&M. They were gonna give me bus fare money to come home on the weekend. So you may not like to be at College Station. I'll go to Houston or wherever. But the day I went to Morehouse in 1975, my sister, I was 17, she was 16, went to Howard University. The same day. The next year, my younger sister was 16, went to Spelman.
Wow.
Morehouse, Howard, Spelman at the same time. From a father that was born right down the street here. That same street, Douglas Way.
Yes,
They don't even have sidewalks till today. Go down there. Y'all go down there. There's no sidewalks, no curbs. But this is where I can say it gave me the love for this city. Mario, you know that. You know that. Tommy, your father did so much, y'all did so much in this community. I mean, I've known your dad, we all worked together before you were even born. But you see what this community can raise.
That's right.
And produce.
That's right.
And I just wanted to say, we got to get outside our comfort zone.
All right.
That's what the issue is. We're in our comfort zone.
Yes, sir.
And so we got a lot of things that has been said. But I always wonder, like the Million Man March, we leave it, what's our action plan?
That's right.
So what's the one thing
Yeah.
that when y'all leave here, that some of us in this community can say, we're gonna take this one thing and we're gonna get it done?
Perfect. Great question. Y'all, hey, can everybody hit that in about 30 seconds? Because we're going to take one more question and then we want to transition to the next panel. Is that all right, y'all? But if y'all can hit it.
Sure, I'll start. That's a good question, Judge. Judge, I think every person should leave this place with a political organizing home.
Yes.
And if that's Black Voters Matter or some other national group, that's fine, because these organizations can give you good information that you can now take and spread to your ecosystem. You already belong to organizations. So if you go to a church on Sunday, walk up to that pastor and say, Pastor, when are you going to speak about some of the issues going on in this country? Matter of fact, if the pastor doesn't speak about it within the next 3 Sundays, find a new church. If you go to a fraternity or sorority meeting and there's more social planning around your banquet or your time to dress up, we're in a war. This is not the time for that. Then you say to your sorority or fraternity, what are we really doing right now? Are we really dancing on the Titanic? So political organizing begins with you demanding a political response from the institutions that you already belong to.
And I'll just say that you can certainly follow us, Black Voters Matter, just punch it in and you can get information that's going on. We want to make sure you're informed. But what's most important is that you look at your local ecosystem and you organize yourself. And you look around and make sure that your churches in your community, that your civic engagement groups like the NAACP and other groups like that, that if you have some LGBTQIA communities and organizing, get with them too. Whatever organizations that you have in your community, y'all should be connected at this point. We are in battle. It may not feel like it is because we're able to come to the restaurant, we're able to eat. Life feels kind of familiar. But we're here to tell you it is not. It is drastically changed in this moment. And so you've got to start to build a local political ecosystem. And then you connect to your local officials and you create your agenda for this city. And then you don't stop there. You go to Houston. You take your ecosystem, connect to the ecosystem in Houston and East Texas and wherever. And you create a statewide agenda. That's what we have to do now in this moment.
Amen, amen. My brother, who asked the question, because we are at war, you don't just have a Navy. You don't just have, ground troops in the Army. You don't just have a Marine Corps base. You just don't have a SEAL team. You have multiple players who have different roles to play in these times. And I want that to be clear. That we're not, remember that famous line from World War II when people were saying, you got the Russians on here, you got Mussolini over here, you got this going on in Asia. They were reminded that it's more than one battlefield when you're at war. And so we have to be very smart that it's not just one thing we need to do. I give it one thing that I hope everybody will do, which is to make those calls, right? That's a solid to-do.
That's right.
The next to-do. Because we got to educate ourselves like crazy. Let me say say one thing that you're going to hear over and over and again, if I can make it possible. Fascism and racism are twins.
Yeah.
They are fraternal twins. They're interdependent upon each other. If you don't know what fascism is, if you haven't studied how fascism took over country after country, then you have to study it. If you haven't studied racism and you don't know what, it's good to say white supremacy, but let's understand structural white racism and how it works. I mean, there's some deep thinking and deep study, and then we got to mobilize. But one thing I want everybody in this room to do: how many of you have watched the Otis Moss, the third video, called Puppet Masters Controlling the Puppet? If you haven't, please watch it. You go to Google or whatever your search engine is. If you put in Otis Moss the third, it's the third. 1, 2, 3. Put him in there and watch his videos. 5 minutes, because he knows about people's attention span. He covers a lot of what my brother covered. But you will learn so much more about what we're dealing with. How many of you have ever studied eugenics in your life? Mm-hmm. Eugenics is a theory that some people are what?
Better than others.
Racially superior to others. These folks, yes, how many of you, have heard of Curtis Yarvin? Curtis Yarvin, Y-A-R-V-I-N. He is the theorist of Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, J.D. Vance. That's their guru. He is a top believer in dysgenics, which means that the part of eugenics that says wholly inferior. He believes and preaches that the worst thing that ever happened to America was the civil rights movement. He teaches that 40% of all Americans, white Americans, are racially inferior, okay? If they believe that about white Americans, what do you think they believe about us? When people say to me, Barbara, it doesn't make sense. Why would you get RFK to be in charge of HHS? And he doesn't know anything. He's been killing people in Somalia. And he believes in that, folks. They want people to die. Yes. Don't get it confused. They're not taking away $800 billion from Medicaid to make it better. Come on. They want people to die. They don't want the measles epidemic to be cured. They want it to kill people. That's right. I know it sounds wild, but if you hear me out, I'm telling you, this is what we're fighting, and if we're not understanding what we're at war with, we don't really understand the war.
They believe in survival of the fittest.
Absolutely. And one quick thing, Mawuli, and I know we have another question, and we have another panel that's coming. And the question is, what do we want you to take away from this? What is the next step? Where do you go from here? The first step is what Barbara just said. 202-224-3121.
Vote no.
Okay?
Right.
On the safe end.
Now,
Right.
but don't stop with that phone call. That phone call is the beginning of your organizing in your community. And what I want people to understand is people get this confused all the time. Power does not come down to the people. Power goes up to the leader. The power of that phone call, the power of you taking that number, and don't just call it once for yourself. Use your Facebook, your Instagram, use your whatever your social media platform is. Educate the people that you're in contact with in your social network about what you learned this evening, and then begin to push that forward. That's the next step, because the big step right now is to educate so folks understand what's going on, because most people don't know. They know there's a problem, but they don't know what to do.
Right.
We're trying to work with you to give you that information. This is the beginning of getting that information and the beginning of organizing. The organizing begins with your Facebook, it begins with your Instagram, it begins with your TikTok. Use all of those media to get organized in the communities and then push everything up.
as we close, I just want to thank all these incredible brains. I feel like it's what's in my head. I thank you all for what you were saying. To answer your question, boycott and super PAC. Boycott and super PAC. The reason Elon Musk is leaving in May is because it was all fun and games to do Doge until his stock took half a plunge, and his wealth took a huge hit because people got in front of his stores and boycotted and got in front of his businesses and said, we're not giving you any money. So he's like, I gotta go, because frankly, his corporate shareholders have said, you gotta go, or you pick one or the other. So the Target boycott has been successful. The Costco, rise has been successful. So we need to study, each of us, which stores are supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I say that because of what happened in the HBCU All-Stars. I understand that all kinds of sponsors, and you work in Juneteenth celebration, all kinds of sponsors were afraid to give. Some of those sponsors were under my jurisdiction, like the hospital system, which all of a sudden had no business saying they couldn't give to this organization. Had I known that before yesterday, I would have been in their rear end about it, okay? But all kinds of businesses are now discriminating against Black people just because we have Black in the name.
Yes.
That's not right. And so, we've got to flip the boycott switch real quick to hold them, because they understand the dollar. Number 2, super PAC and PAC. Whether it's Black Votes Matter or even local one that I'm developing here, we have to make sure that we empower elected officials who will support our businesses, who support our cultural nonprofits. There are too many elected officials who are held unaccountable and are actually at the puppeteering of big right-wing interests every day. I've taken on most of the billionaires in the state quietly, trying to do the right thing. They paid the Texas Tribune and ProPublica $1.5 million to do a hit piece against me, and it made its way all the way to the Texas Supreme Court. We're on the verge. We won the case in Travis County. A judge said this is all baloney, what they said, but it has drained my campaign coffers to tell the truth. Because they have the biggest law firm in the state of Texas. The biggest bundler for Greg Abbott did that hit against me because they fear my political ascension. They lie. And that is a new tactic. So we've got to be able to support our elected ideas into fruition, because that's what Elon is doing, quite frankly. That's what Adelstein had done. That's what all of these right-wingers, they're working together on the PACs and the super PACs. We've got to have them in every community and help elect people who are going to preserve our voting rights, preserve our civil rights, preserve all of our human rights. And that's very important. So that's my advice as we go through the thing. Come on.
We're gonna take another quick question here, and if we can have a really quick response, you all. A lot of information here. Just think about this. What part of what was just raised is that on this Sunday, we have a chance to make a statement.
Yes.
Y'all understand? This Sunday, you should have your cousins, aunties, uncles all over the country tuning in to the CW network. They should see a spike. Yeah. We can make this go viral so they say, oh, they will support HBCU sports, basketball in particular, if we put it on a national platform. So there's an example of the boycott is one thing, but then we got to invest in those things that matter to us. Everybody good with that? So I just want to give one more action item. Is this Sunday, make everybody tune in. I know everybody in this room is going to be in the building, but we need everybody around the world to tune in, right? And then to tune in the CW network, and then on the NBC, Universal, and Peacock for the women's game. All right, we can do that. So that's one more action item. Question, and real quick question, and we're gonna hit it real quick.
Thank you. I am Pastor Garner. I'm the vice chairman of the CCSA, which is the Community of Churches of Social Actions, to include the scholarship chair of that organization. I am also the proud esteemed pastor of the New Jerusalem Worship Center here in the great city of San Antonio, Texas, where we took a 18,000 square foot building in Commissioner Calvert's district, and we renovated it to make it a 5-star facility for the kingdom of God. And nobody gave us anything, but we did it strictly off of tithes and offerings. I stand because of the fact that I want to say that HBCU is not just a brand name of excitement. HBCU has always been around. HBCU is a lifestyle. It is a meaning that's entrenched and embedded within the hearts and the minds of our development and who we are. My father was a graduate of Grambling State University, football player. My mother, graduate of Southern University, a 30-year Sigma Gamma Rho, if you would say. My first cousin, Roman Banks, athletic current director. First cousin, Tammy Moore, vice accountant of Southern University. All of my cousins are somehow connected to Grambling and Southern and Alcorn. Now, I've been here listening, and I'm hearing a lot of rhetoric and a lot of talk that's really burdened me. Somebody forgot to tell us that we are currently at the table. We are at the table not because of the fact that we've been passive. We're at the table because we have been diligent in our devotion. We have worked hard to get to where we are. And we have shown our sons and our daughters what we can do if given an opportunity. So let's not take us all the way back to the trenches of where we know things were just so out of control. Let's recognize that we are at the table, and what put us at the table? The fair opportunity of affirmative actions. I served 21 years in retired United States Air Force, and affirmative action was a key ingredient to the military success. My question to you is this. We see the attack on the eradication of DEI. We see how they have taken DEI and scrutinized it. Since I've been in this city 24 years flying on the radio, I'm gonna say this here. Commissioner Calvert is what you see and what you get. He's not just somebody here because y'all are here. Commissioner Calvert, since I've been here, he's one that has been diligent and devoted into every word that he's spoken over these last few days. And I can truly say, y'all give him a hand, I'm telling you what I see. But I'm also asking this question. What are we gonna do to re-emphasize and reignite, re-energize affirmative actions, that which we know that have gotten most of us our grandest opportunity, in place of DEI, whereas, again, scholarship chair this year, federal grant, we would give out over $300,000 to young African-American, male, female, that's connected to the church. We went into a meeting this year and they said, quote, I'm sorry, as soon as the president signed the executive order, they immediately called us in and said, we are not going to disseminate any of this money this year. So here's my point. We're at the table. You still at the table. Don't give me no pity party that we cannot make it as to the advancement of where we are right now. My question to you is, what are we going to do to keep the door of affirmative actions for these young people to come behind us to get the same thing that we have, our 3-story home, $500,000 house, our $70,000 car? What are we going to do? We can't sit at the table and cry about now. We can't sit at the table and cry what we used to do. God done brought us all the way out. And if God done brought us out, God can bring us through. I just want to know what we're going to do about bringing affirmative action back to the table.
Thank you. Let me thank you, Pastor, for everything you just said in your testimony. The first thing is we may have to be more aggressive in the courts when they take these monies from us, because they're taking the monies primarily from groups who are black and brown. And we have a class action. We have remedies that could be brought forward to say, you can't just cut us out just because of our ebony hue. So the courts have been a place where we have been able to hold the line. We've been able to hold the line and make sure that the scholarship monies that are being set by corporations that they can't give us anymore, we need to go ahead and get aggressive about it and not just roll over and let them do that to us. The second thing relates back to on affirmative action, relates to the commitment that we have to have towards elected officials following their word with respect to inclusion. And what I mean by that goes back to the PAC and the super PAC. We've got to come ahead of the election with our agenda, which says we have collected these funds over here at Tony G's. We had a chicken dinner, and we all raised a couple $1,000s. And we want to see you hire people who look like us as department heads to help be inclusive. We want to see our businesses included in the disparity study. Even though the times are tough, you still, in the courts, you still have to push for that vision politically and hold elected officials accountable and support them. And when they don't do it, then you have to withdraw that support and look for somebody else. I pushed for years. We had to, in order to do affirmative action in contracting, you have to do a disparity study. Okay, this town has wiped out a lot of minority business people because we weren't bold enough to do a race-conscious contracting, right? And so even though we have a majority-minority council and majority-minority commissioners court, I was the lone voice that was saying, let's go and take this proof of discrimination, of exclusion, and let's get the race-conscious policy. But I'm only one vote. So I need some help. You need the help. The community needs the help. And that's what I think helps us hold the line, practically.
I just want to say, because everything you said is absolutely spot on. But I also want to say in this moment that we can't, if in this moment, we can't fight for what was.
Right.
We can't fight for that. And we got to understand that they're going for broke. They understand that their numbers are dwindling. And they are around the table now trying to figure out how can we, as a race, if our numbers go down, how can we create an apartheid?
There you go.
And so, and that's really the discussion right now.
There you go.
And so we as a people have to start having stronger discussions because affirmative action was never really what it was never really the answer. Never. Reparations was.
That's right.
That was the answer for our community. But we compromised on affirmative action because we need to give something to our community. So now is the time for us. I know we want to be okay. And I know that we're cleaving to the safety guardrails that our community has fought for, like the voting rights thing and all of those things. But that's not what's going to save us. That's why they are always being chopped, right? We are literally, our civil and human rights are under the benevolence of white men, whether they decide they want to do it. So we've got to decide that that's no longer how we're going to proceed with our liberation struggle here.
That's right.
And so I say to you that if we can't leave this moment fighting for something greater, fighting for more rights, fighting for reparations, then we're missing the point.
That's right.
It is no longer politics as usual. There are things that you can do at the county commission level, I promise you. There are things that we can do at the city council level, but they are literally trying to create apartheid in America. They've already done it, but they're trying to do it now where it will never ever, that you and I will never ever be able to fight against it. So that's my position now. We need a bigger and heftier agenda as a people in this country, but we're going to get reparations, but we're going to get more rights, that we can get proportional representation. Folks don't want to talk about that, but what that means is that you have a government that guarantees Black folks that are going to be in the Senate, that are going to be in Congress, and at the state level. That's the kind of stuff that we've got to start fighting for and educating our people, or we are going to be wiped in racial ways. And that's what it's
about. Number one, if you want to follow the Transformative Justice Coalition, you can go to tjcoalition.org. tjcoalition.org. You have all the information with regard to what we're doing and where we're going. Now, I want to particularly thank Commissioner Calvert for all that he has said. And only one thing that I don't know that you know, I started out in office as an elected local official, the first Black and the only Black that was serving with my county. I say that for this reason. There's a way you can help this brother. There's 3 ways you can help this brother. One way is that if you live in his district, is to vote for him. If you don't live in this district, the way that you can help him is to go and campaign for him wherever he needs campaigning. The third way that you can help him, if you have the ability, is to give him money, because those are the 3 things that he's going to need to continue the fight that he's raising. The last part I want to raise to you is this, because one of the things that both April and Commissioner has raised is this. They talked about the courts, they talked about affirmative action and all these other things. I want you to be clear on this. I'm a process person, right? I want you to be clear on this. Affirmative action came to us through the courts. Our courts are contained of judges, many of which are elected. So your power of your vote is really going to be central to everything that we do. Having people like Commissioner Calvert be able to fight for us depends upon our ability to get them elected, to have that voice at the table. Our ability to undertake and to undo many of the executive orders that you've heard us talk about, it goes to the courts. The courts are either appointed by an elected official or they run for that position. That comes back to your vote, because it's your vote that determines that elected official. It's your vote that determines that judge. So that's why you always hear me pushing, talking about how horrible the SAVE Act is and how important it is for each of you when you leave here today to check your voter registration status, and also encourage young folks to get out there and vote. They're very interested, but they're waiting for someone to say, come to me, ask me, tell me what we need to do.
Yes, and my Willie, can I
Very quickly, y'all, 'cause
yes.
we got an incredible second panel
Yes.
that we got to get up here.
With much respect. Everybody, the Barbara Arnwine you see today is not the Barbara Arnwine who existed in October last year. The first thing I hope everyone will do is reassess who you are in this moment. That mirror that you look at every morning to say, do I, look all right? Am I ready? Ask that same question of yourself about who am I right now? What am I going to do? God, use me. Use what you put in me all these years. And take that to the next level. Because all of us got to be big next level thinkers in this moment. Big next level fighters in this moment. And I just want to say one last thing that we haven't said, but I wouldn't be representing TJC if I didn't say it, and that is invest in young people. Young people are our future. All the people right here who are under 35 years of age, please stand real quickly so people can see those are the people. Those are the people. Those are the people. Invest in them. Believe in them. It's not about giving them authority. They are our leaders of today and tomorrow. Let's love on some young people. And don't be telling me about what they can't do. And they different. Heck, we were running around with hot pants and doing all kind of stuff. All right? And songs, all kind of stuff. But they have the means to help us to go forward in this fight. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Can we thank again Commissioner Tony Calvert, Attorney Gerald Jones, Attorney Barbara Arnwine, Miss April Albright, Attorney April Albright, and Attorney Brett. One more time.
What a powerful. Get ready for one more round. One more round. Can we have our next? And can we have our founders of the HBCU All-Star?
Put one of his 3-minute commercials.
Travis Kyle. All right. We gave you a program. We gave you a program so you could Google who just came up.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
What is the Black Man Lab? The Black Man Lab is a safe, sacred, and healing space for Black men. It's a space for us to get together and talk about the things that are important within our community. We really deal with 4 overarching pillars. Our 4 pillars are personal growth, professional development, economic empowerment, and political awareness. We know that if we're touching on these 4 different topics every week, that we're going to continue to build our communities to be a better place for not just us, but for the entire world.
Fortunately, brothers have come together to help curate, to help bring into existence, because we need it. We all need it. We need spaces where we can connect with each other, where we can learn from each other, where we can encourage each other. And so that's what the Black Man Lab is. That's what it has evolved into. That's what it continues to evolve. So with every brother who comes into the space, young, old, child, elder, they just add energy. They add love. They add.
They said it couldn't be done. A law firm in this neighborhood, helping people, choosing to work in this community instead of corporate America is why they
By saying Kaya's name. Say his name. Devin stepped out for her sorrow, boy. And I'm gonna show Luke some love too.
First of all, giving honor to God. It is truly a blessing to be here amongst friends, amongst community, our family, to have this platform, to have this vision that he gave Travis about 6 years ago now. So we're super grateful. We're happy to be here in San Antonio. Sister Jana, thank you. I'm gonna say your name too, Dr. Jana Davis. Thank you. Say your name. But we are so happy to be here. We're super grateful to be here. I think he talked a little bit about the vision and what happened. I don't want to go too deep into it. I know that this is a safe space. However, when my husband came to me with this amazing vision of this game, to not just have a basketball game, but to highlight our HBCUs. I'm a Bennett Bell, so I'm born and bred HBCU. Bennett Bell's my Morehouse brother. I heard some judge from Morehouse. When he came to me with this idea, back then it was just an idea, right? It was something that he wanted to do. I said, let's do it, okay. But it got very difficult, extremely difficult. That year, in 2020, of course, the pandemic, the game was going to be in Atlanta, which is our home. And then the pandemic came, shut everything down. To make a long story short, things got a little quiet. Our idea was shared with another entity who then tried to steal our intellectual property, and we had to fight. And so Attorney Davis got behind us, and so did Rainbow Push Coalition, Jesse Jackson. We had everyone in the social justice community fighting for us. And that is why we are here in 2025
with the 4th annual HBCU All-Star Game and the 3rd women. It takes a community. I'm grateful for this opportunity and to be amongst family. And I wanted to say about Travis right quick, because I neglected to say this last night, but I'm super proud of you. And I'm not going to get emotional. Normally when I say something, he gets super emotional, right? When I just publicly talk about how grateful I am for him. Because it takes so much. It's sleepless nights. It's just a constant fight. And not only are you an amazing husband and father, the Travis you see is the Travis. This is him all the time. At home, he's on fire. At home, with us at home. It means so much to him, and he has really worked so hard. We have worked hard, but this is his vision. I'm supporting him. I've supported him along the way, but it has not been easy. And this year has been the most difficult of all the years. Besides when we first started, because of all that's happening in the world with DEI, all that's happening in the United States right now, it's been hard. But we appreciate you. Thank you for keep fighting the good fight. And we're going to be here with you all the way. We got your back.
He set it up.
Don't believe that. You know he has something to say.
Wow, this is and I always start out off, what a God-driven vision. And what she failed to realize, I had to come to her and ask her that we have to make some personal, professional, and financial sacrifices. Yes. So I want to give a shout out to you because you held it down. Period. Because this was the only one to focus on with this. For us. And look at us now. Look at these amazing panelists, individuals that sit here pouring in this tonight. This is what this is about. How do we all win and continue to fight for us in this space? And my wife was right. It's been some long sleepless nights. You would imagine when we announced the 4th annual meeting and the first of the win, we were like, oh, this thing of trending, and it's crazy. Moving. We get to that January, I swear, it seemed like the bottom fell out. Because now you start dealing with these corporate partners and sponsors and say, hey, coach, can you send us your business letterhead? Out of all the few years, they said we're doing new rules. We need to see your letterhead, HBCU All-Stars, to run it through our legal team.
Wow. Make it plain, brother.
Yeah. Wow. Coach, we have to run it through our legal team with the climate to even do sponsors. Yeah, it's real. It's real. So what you see out there tonight, I told my wife, we already down the road. There's no way for us to pull it back. So what you see running first class and everything we're doing, it is a financial sacrifice for us as a family.
That's right.
It's a huge sacrifice. But there's no turning back because we understand the magnitude of this moment, what this means for our culture. Yes. Because we know the city of San Antonio is going to be behind us and fight with us. So I got to give that brother Tommy Harris some big praise. Some big praise. Because I sat down and had a keep it real section with him. I had a keeper. I said, bro, we need your support. Because to do a bit of that magnitude at Freeman Coliseum, where there hasn't been a event there since 2015 with the WNBA. So what you see when you go watch that game tonight, we built it from ground up.
That's right.
Black excellence. When you walk in that arena, it's ground. And where is it? It's on the east side. Yeah. It's on the east side. It's the pillar of the community. It's love. Yeah. It's powerful. And so that's what's important for us. We all win in this. And so this has been a big community effort. Everybody, I want to make sure I get a public thank you to everybody in the great city of San Antonio. I don't care if it was a phone call or a text message. We never take that for granted. So I want to challenge all of us. If you leave here tonight, reinvigorated by this these outstanding individuals that are talking to us tonight. Share it, pass the word. Make sure we're not, the Final Four's not the only thing going on in San Antonio. Y'all make sure y'all understand that. We're just as relevant. And remember, these Final Four teams you have no invested interest in. They're just here in your city, you're hosting them. But you have investment in your Black excellence. Look around. Look around. So this is for us. This is for our community. So show up, San Antonio. Proud, continue to support. Thank you. All right.
And we are. Everybody all right? You getting full? We've got this second powerful panel that center us around the importance in this moment of HBCUs and HBCU culture, and a conversation that we're about to have, and we just want you all to just settle down and lean in, because we really, were intentional about the curation of this panel, and we're grateful. I know Lisa, she must have stepped out. We've been hounding Lisa, tell us who, and when she started giving us names and people here that we can combine with folks that have been working and supporting HBCU All-Stars, like Gary Charles Ford from the beginning. This is just a beautiful combining of the best that we all have. And so let's give it up to this panel. Let's show them some love. Let's give them some energy. I'm going to turn it over to Jane, and we're ready to take off.
Well, welcome. Thank you all for your patience. Thank you for being here. And so we can start with introducing yourselves, and then we'll go right into our questions.
Hello. Hello. My name is Mario Marcel Salas. By the way, Commissioner Calvert, when he was not 15, I hired him to work over at City Council because I was the city councilman for this district. And I think I told the lie and told him you were 15.
I was 17. You told him I was 18 or 19.
So he was my assistant. I'm a professor at the University of Texas at San Antonio. I was the city councilman for this district as well. I'm a historian as well. And it looks like most everybody in here, let me just say this. Most people in here are not from here, correct?
That's correct.
All right, well, don't go to the Alamo. Let me start off like this. Because if you do, you ain't woke. And I don't know about you all, but I'm still woke. Okay? And I can tell you I'm woke because I saw a metal trash can going down the street and somebody told me that was a Tesla. and my grandson was playing with some Hot Wheels. So I know all about Hot Wheels. Jasmine Crockett has to be our hero. Ain't no doubt about that. And so I'm very happy to be here. Dr. Cynthia Warwick couldn't be here from Stillman.
Yes.
And she said, I'm going to nominate you. Will you do it? I said, yeah. By the way, I just got through attending a conference in Austin at Houston, Texas. I'm speaking there tomorrow in support of HBCU and justice and civil rights and things like that. I was a member of the Black Panther Party. I was also a member of SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and I was one of the co-authors of the amicus brief for affirmative action that went before the U.S. Supreme Court. So I'll stop there and we'll get to do some more.
Thank you for being here.
Y'all better give it up, man. Now we see whose shoulders the commission is standing on. We clear. We clear. Those of us who are not from San Antonio, we're clear. Come on, brother. My man.
My name is Gary Charles. I grew up in Roseau, Long Island, with people such as Eddie Murphy, Chuck D from Public Enemy. I was also the home of Dr. J. I was fortunate to be the one that told the world that Kobe Bryant was the one. And I was able to convince Adidas to sign Kobe, which obviously opened up the doors. I've had the pleasure of coaching over 20 pros for my program, Long Island Panthers, New York Panthers. I was the first program to ever get a shoe deal from a shoe company. I worked at Wall Street for 20 years. I am currently the CEO of ABIS, Advancement of Blacks in Sports.
Quick context. ABIS. Brother Travis, when the assault came against the intellectual property, reached out. They stepped up. His organization was one of the first to step up, and other organizations followed their lead. And I just want to set the record straight. This brother is very much a part of the history you all are and being here. I know he had an event today that he does, and he came straight over that he does during every Final Four. So I just want to just make that public announcement. Thank you, brother. We appreciate you. Come on, Sister Deborah.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Deborah Ogwale Jarman, the CEO of the San Antonio African American Community Archive and Museum. That's a long name, so we say SACAM, where our mission is to collect, preserve, and share the history and cultural heritage of African descendants here in San Antonio and the Southwest region. Excited to have you all in our city.
I stalked her. I'm just telling you all. I texted her. Yesterday I saw her, I was like, it's me. Can you please? Because everybody in San Antonio was like, hey, if there's something going down, this sister and this museum is functioning in ways that some of our legacy organizations are used to function. And they're bringing that level of advocacy into this city, into this space. And so thank you for working it out, because I know you also had another event tonight. So thank you for being here.
Deborah, tell me the largest Black History Museum in the South coming up, right?
So yes, we will. Thank you. Bear County actually, do I have time?
Yes.
Okay. So Bear County actually led the lead, led the fight for us to purchase the historic Crest department stores and Grant department store on Houston Street, a block and a half from the Alamo, which Mario and I have an interesting relationship with. And it will make us the third largest African American museum in the country. And perhaps we'll get to it tonight or not, but we can talk about it at another time if we don't. But 48% of the space will provide mission-aligned revenue, so we can be self-supported.
Yes.
So that's huge, and you'll talk to me about it, and I'll tell you all about it.
All right. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Natalie White, and I am the Vice President for the three-time WNBA champions Los Angeles Sparks. I am from Fort Valley, Georgia, as Travis would say, Fort Valley. Travis and I go way back. That's where we met, and I'm all things HBCU. I am a two-time graduate of Florida A&M University. So I earned my bachelor's and my master's from Florida A&M, and I am also the CEO and founder of Attention Foundation, a nonprofit organization that I run back in my hometown of Fort Valley, Georgia. So I'm so excited to be here. I eat, breathe, sleep, HBCU. So this to me, I'm in heaven. So thank you, City of San Antonio, for having us, for having me, and I look forward to sharing with you guys this evening.
Thank you. Thank you all of you for being here. So my first question is going to be for Mr. Charles, Gary Charles. How does the HBCU All-Star experience challenge the mainstream narrative about Black athletes?
We call me first. For the record, I'm a graduate of HBCU.
Yes.
I went to Cheney University. And at the time, Coach John Cheney was actually my gym teacher.
Wow.
And Raymond Stringer was the women coach at the time. So I was with two Hall of Famers. You know, there's a reason why it's called his story. Because it's someone else's story. It's not ours. It's his story. And what we have to do is to be able to understand the media is going to portray it how they want it to. So with the HBCU experience, we can now show them, no, what you've been showing and talking about is wrong. We're going to show you who we really are. So by doing this HBCU All-Star, people are now getting to see on TV and that, oh, I didn't know they could be this good. That's not what they were saying on TV, saying they're not that good. So I think it's important that we continue to do this. And what Trav and his wife have been doing, see, I'm going to give you some credit, all right? Because I know he can't do it by himself. I know that. I'm aware. All right? It's so important that we continue to do this so the world can see what HBCU athletes are all about.
Thank you.
Sister Deborah, I just want to go to you with history, legacy, because so much of the HBCU experience is about the history, the legacy. When we had little to nothing, we were able to pull together. When you think of the Tuskegee construction, brick by brick, the putting together. Can you talk about the importance of our history right now and why you believe that it's under such attack and as it relates to even our HBCUs?
Sure. Now, I just want to preface that I am not our museum historian. We have some extremely smart people that do that. Mario even helps us. But I will say this when it comes to my passion for our story.
Yes.
When we realize who we really are,
okay, now.
When we realize that we are people that persisted, when we realize that we are descendants of kings and queens, when we realize that we can do anything but fail, then we excel. Excel. Look at how we have done every single sport that they have allowed us space in. Look at how we've done in the world of academics and science. I could go on and on and on. So they don't want us to know who we are. We go into schools, and because this is recorded, I'm not going to tell you which ones, but we get calls monthly from teachers saying, I need you all to come in and talk to our students about history. And I'm not saying one school. We go to about 3 schools a month here in San Antonio. And when those children look at the stories and understand, well, wait a minute, they didn't tell us when it came to Moses Austin and the land grant that brought the colonists here into Texas, that they got 80 acres for every enslaved person that they brought here. They didn't tell us that the only reason why they know the story of the Alamo is because of the enslaved man named William Barrett Travis. I'm sorry, the enslaved man of William Barrett Travis named Joe. He told that story. They're not telling that history. And so when our babies say, well, wait a minute, all of this happened? You mean Black people built Texas? Picking cotton and sugar? And you're trying to keep me back? You mean I don't have to commit suicide because somebody talked about me? Because my people endured so much more, so they don't want us to know who we are. So they're taking away our education. Just look at the Department of Education federally is basically no more. We have vouchers that I understand, I couldn't find it, but school vouchers passed, they told me, in closed session today here in the state of Texas. The executive director of the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture was put on leave yesterday. I mean, I could go on and on. They don't want us to know who we are. So the HBCU All-Star Experience brings me joy. When I saw the excitement of the Grambling Marching Band, I was like, yes, to see those young people. Yes. It just does my heart well. And then one of the sisters, I think her name is Lynn Harris, she is working on her master's in sports management, I believe. She got her bachelor's in history. She came up to me last night and today she said, I want to know what I can do to help change this narrative. Yes. And what we're doing at SACAM, our median employment age is 36. This is at a museum. Wow. We are employing young people because our history matters and it has to be sustained. I'll get off my soapbox.
All right, so this next question is from my Rattler sister, Natalie. Natalie, why is community engagement critical to the mission of HBCU athletic programs?
Well, I would say that community engagement is the culture that's woven into the fabric of HBCUs. And it's so important that I can remember when I was at FAMU, and I didn't mention earlier, but I played basketball at FAMU. I didn't only play basketball, but I am in the Hall of Fame at FAMU. I'm in the Hall of Fame to be at the Mid-Atlantic Conference. My jersey is retired. So I left everything on the court and understanding, how important it is. Right, point guard. That's right. So, and I can remember going to the elementary schools back when I was at FAM, and how excited those young kids were to see someone that looked like them, that cared about them, that wanted to support them and encourage them to read and encourage them to learn and to grow. And that's one thing that I always tell the student athletes, you have to give back to the community. And then also to the community, once you're out there, it's good for the universities because it bridges the gap with the local leaders, the businesses there, the churches, and all those things. So we have to make sure that we're out in the community so people know who we are. We can't be quiet. We can't be silent. We have to let them know. Everywhere I go, people know that I'm a graduate of Florida A&M University, and I'm from Fort Valley, Georgia. And I don't say Georgia because then they automatically think Atlanta. So we have to let people know what we're about and how we want to support people and how we want to help. We lift as we climb. We want to help those others who are in the community. So those student athletes and they need to get out more. And I always challenge the coaches, like, get out in the community. You want more people to come to the basketball games, they need to know your players' names. So how do you do that? You get out in the community, you speak up. Every church wants to invite you out. Not only do you go to that church, but have them acknowledge you there so that everybody knows, and don't be afraid to ask for the support. Is nothing like, would you tell a student athlete if they ask you personally to come and watch me play, to come and support me? Would you say no? You wouldn't. So we have to teach them how to use their voices. And that's one thing about the HBCU experience. I wish I had this when I was coming out, because I would have been ready to showcase the world, the talent, because it's hidden talent. It's hidden talent. Our HBCUs, the games are not nationally televised. You know, we picked up more games than it was when I was there. But there needs to be more. We just need to tell our stories more. And that's when we have brilliant journalists, that are covering more HBCU stories, more of the players. But tell our stories, tell the unique stories. Don't allow somebody else to narrate your journey. Let's tell our own story. Let's talk about the challenges. Let's talk about the triumphs that we've had. So that's what I encourage, and that's why community engagement is so important, because we have to inform people of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and why their support matters.
Thank you.
That brings me, sir, to you, because I think so often we think of history as something we read in a book. As you sit here, having been a part as a young person of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, Black Panther, what is it that you would like to convey to young people about their potential to be transformative, to be able to help change the narrative, to be able to help change the world in the way that SNCC and the Panther Party did, and continues to influence all of us in this moment?
Thank you very much.
You got it.
Thank you very much, Brother David. Elder Stephen said a long time ago, well, we're still not free.
That's right.
And he had a good point about that. And I'll add to what Sister Deborah said about they don't want black folks to know who they are. They also don't want anybody to know what they did.
That's right.
And what they did was a crime.
Yeah.
Slavery was an act of war. And every one of those Confederates should have been executed. Robert E. Lee should have been executed. Jefferson Davis should have been executed. Every slave owner should have been executed. But no, they didn't want to do that. They wanted to preserve white supremacy. And the way you preserve it is act like they did nothing wrong. Act like they did nothing wrong. And sabotage everything. So what I think young folks have to do is learn what they don't want us to know. And that is the crimes that they commit. I told y'all in the beginning, don't go to the Alamo if you're not from here. And the reason why Deborah knows it just as well as I do, Sam Houston was a slave owner. David Crockett was a slave owner. Jim Bowie was a slave owner. Moses Austin, a slave owner. Stephen F. Austin, city of Austin named after him, slave owner. All of them slave owners. Every one of the Alamo defenders, every last one owned at least one slave. They don't want us to know that. And if you do bring it up, they want to just say, oh, that's the past, let's don't talk about it. Well, if we ain't gonna talk about that, then don't tell me nothing about Pearl Harbor and 9/11 and all that other stuff that you all think is so horrible that happened. So they want people to remember the horrible things that happened to them, but they don't want nobody to remember the horrible things that they did to black folks. And so education is key to answering that question. And in terms of, and not only were they slave owners, they made the general that fought against the Alamo defenders the worst person that ever lived. His name was General Antonio Santa Anna. And let me tell you what he did. And now I know why they made him such an evil man. Everywhere he went, he freed slaves. Everywhere he went. And he had an all-black regiment that fought at the Alamo, and it was called the Free Blacks of Veracruz. All black. Now, can you imagine David Crockett and them looking out of the wall right there and seeing nothing but black soldiers walking around with guns? That must have scared the hell out of them. I know, I carried a gun when I was in the Panthers, and that scared the hell out of me. So I know all about that. So we're in a war. And I agree with the last panel, we're in a war.
Yes.
And they destroyed the first Reconstruction.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
With Jim Crow law, with Plessy versus Ferguson. They destroyed the first Reconstruction. And then we have a second Reconstruction. Brown versus Board, we have all that civil rights cases and everything. And so that's what Trump and Muskrat is doing, trying to destroy the second Reconstruction so they can institute white supremacy. If you haven't figured it out yet, white supremacy is the #1 problem in this country. That's what we have to fight against. Tooth and nail. Tooth and nail. We don't need to step back. We don't need to hold our tongue. Jasmine Crockett ain't doing it. I'm not gonna do it either. So we need to get that in people's minds, that spirit, that drive to get you to fight, we have to transfer that spirit to young folks. Because this fight, we gotta fight. We need some more troops. When I was working the anti-apartheid movement, the guerrillas from Angola, different parts of the movement, they asked everybody in the audience who was there, stand up if you're willing to die for freedom. Most everybody did. He said, everybody that did, that's okay. We need somebody to load the guns We need somebody to treat the wounded. We need somebody to make the leaflets. So everybody's got a role to play. But for those of you who want to fight and fight for freedom and fight for rights, stand up. Everybody in there stood up. And he said this, he was a guerrilla commander. He said, this is what I tell my troops in the field. By the way, after that, I went to Cuba. And you weren't supposed to go there at the time. And so I did a lot of that stuff. I think it was good. I wrote the book, which Deborah mentioned. The name of my book is called, and you'll like this, The Alamo, A Cradle of Lies, Slavery, and White Supremacy.
Hold on. Y'all, I just gotta give it up for this brother. Can y'all, we reached to Brother Cedric Bellamy. This brother has shown up for us. We were on his show. He has just been so diligent in supporting this effort with the live broadcast. Him and Sister Lala, who is our Chicago homegirl. I know that he has to leave to take his daughter. I've been watching him as I sat here, just take care of his beautiful daughter. And brother, we appreciate, we love you, we thank you for your service. Y'all give it up for him.
All right, back to our questions.
Yes.
All right, Brother Gary, what advice would you give to young athletes who want to use their platform for social justice?
Well, first of all, I think with this administration, we have to be careful of how we put our words out. I don't think it should ever be stifled, but I think there's a way it could be done. I was thinking about when there was an issue a couple of years ago in the NBA, and the NBA guys said they were not going to go on the floor.
Right.
And by them not going on the floor, they made a change. Every athlete, I'm going to tell you something that never changed. The money never changed.
Right.
They will always pay attention if you affect their power, which is the money. We sometimes don't understand the power that we have if we work together. So one of the biggest things we don't do is work together, but we need to. So when someone's making a statement on your team, do it together. There's power in numbers. Nothing wrong with making a statement. Just make sure you have your facts right.
That's right.
All right? It's what's important. It's a shame, but it is what it is. People will always listen to a team that's winning or a player that is scoring 18 points. Put that person out there, you allow them to talk, they will listen. Do not allow people to stifle your voice. If I have learned one thing, since we started ABIS, oh my God, there's some powerful black women out here. And their voices have been stifled for a very long time. When they showed up to ABIS, they all came out. But I was amazed because I was learning myself. And this is why we have to continue to keep showing it. We have to continue to keep showing it to the athletes. No, you don't have to stop. Your voice counts because you're the one people are looking at. That's why I look at the NBA and when they talk about who the top greatest players were, I grade differently. I grade based on who is out there speaking for us. See, because we can't afford not to.
Right.
All right? So we have the opportunity, take advantage and use your voice.
Thank you.
Sister Deborah, last night we talked about, you mentioned vision. You came into this role about 5 years ago. Can you talk about the importance of vision? Because we know that HBCU All-Stars is a vision, right? And you have young people that are part of your staff that you have to cast the vision and then try to bring everybody along in the vision. Can you discuss that? Because in this moment, obviously, we need to have a vision, that we can see beyond what we're experiencing right now. And just share a little bit about how you've been able to do that and what you would offer us as we continue to seek to lead and guide and work with young people.
So every morning, I wake up early and I ask God, what would you have me do today? I do a devotion every morning in the bathroom where it's nice and quiet. I know that sounds strange, but I have a vanity there. I'm not sitting on the throne. I have a vanity there. And I really listen. The vision came from God. And when He gives you a vision, like the Williams will tell you, He's going to provide the provision.
Yes,
that's exactly what that word means, for the vision. And we may not know where it's coming from, but if we're obedient, He's going to be faithful. So that's how I show up to work every day.
Yes, yes.
Our team, they see when I'm tired. They see when it's tough. But I'm going to tell you what puts them apart. One, again, prayer. Like, Lord, send me the right people, because I was a second employee at SACAM. So it's, where am I going to find the right people? And we have 25 now. Wow. And we have a budget of about 1.6 million just operating. That's not our capital budget. So if God just brought them. And from so many different places, we do have PhDs on our team. We have people with masters on our team. But, you know, I look at our exhibit space supervisor, who she's such a dear. She has her master's in nutrition. Okay. But she is supervising a group of young people. She taught English in Spain. So just, you know, we have such a diverse team. But I show up as real and as transparent as I can be. And that transparency also shows up in, this is a God thing. And everyone that works at SACAM embodies our core values, which are love, respect, excellence, growth, stewardship, and creativity. Wow. They all are getting paid less than what they would get paid if they worked somewhere else. That's not my desire.
That's right.
But we depend on donations. And our table's back there where you can pick up things, and people pick up things. But I can tell you, most of the people in this room are not members of SACAM or any museum, African American museum. And our membership starts at $15. Those young people want to be paid, but they also want to serve the community. So I'm just real with them. And I will say, whenever I think about Thanksgiving, well, every Monday we have staff meeting. And so Thanksgiving, the Monday before Thanksgiving, we have food. And the question was, what are you thankful for? And by the time it got around, we were all bawling. Because those young people said, I am thankful for a job where I can show up, be my authentic self, and make a difference in the community. And when you think about, we had people that came from corporate America, they couldn't do that.
No.
We have people that came to SACAM broken because working for white folks is hard. They'd rather work at a nonprofit where they're out hustling every day but making a difference than working for a paycheck that they know they're going to get. So I just say, just be who you are. Let God lead you.
Yes.
Listen. So that's also a trick of the enemy, because he doesn't want us to be still long enough to listen.
Stay distracted.
So we have to. That's why in the still of the morning,
Yes.
I have to be still and listen, and we have to do that. He's not going to lead us wrong. And when you show up authentically and listen, we will get the young people engaged. And I'm grateful for the staff that we have. And by the way, it's free admission. A little plug. And we're opening this weekend a little longer. So we're opening at 10 and we close at 8. We can't do any of our tours this weekend because it was just too busy. But come back and see us. If you're not from San Antonio, we do a Black History Riverboat tour. We do a Green Book tour. In San Antonio, there were over 80 Green Book sites right here in this city. And we take them, we'll take you on those tours. We do 2 cemetery tours, lots of really cool stuff. And it's not show and tell. Last thing.
Yes, yes.
And I think this is also what makes a difference. Our museum is not show and tell. Our museum is show and tell. And now that you've been told, what are you going to do about it? And so we put those questions out there in every single thing that we do. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're coming back, and I know we will become members.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love you, Senator.
That's right.
And we have a $51 million capital campaign to turn those beautiful 103,000 square feet to a Black Mecca, including a 12-room boutique hotel on the top with a view of the city. Thank you, Commissioner County.
All right, Natalie, what are the best ways that HBCU athletes can leverage their visibility to influence positive change?
Well, I think that number one, you gotta use their voices. Use their voices. I think that it is shown that athletes have the most powerful voices, and I'm gonna speak just a little bit about the athletes that I get to work with every day within the WNBA, and I think that they set the example to how they use their voices for the voiceless. With Black Lives Matter and Say Her Name, the campaigns that we've done during the George Floyd, and those ladies, they stepped up, they stepped out, they weren't afraid, they made a stand, they united and made a stand, and it made a difference. It made a difference. It showed the world what you guys were mentioning about when we all come together, how we can do the most powerful things. And within the WNBA, 144 players, and now it'll be 156 because now we have 13 teams. But just imagine in 13 teams for 2025, and then 2026, it'll move to 15. So we're growing. But one thing I can say about those ladies is that they believe in each other. When nobody else has to believe in them, they believe in each other, and they are setting the tone for what is right to stand up for equity in sports and pay equity rights and those things. So that's why I say use your voice. Use your voice, because if you don't, then who will? I mean, I'm reading a book now and just said, who better than you? Will Packer's new book. Who better than you? And you think about that. You think about those things that you earned a seat at the table. You deserve a seat at that table. So you can't let anybody tell you what you can't do. And that's what we try to empower, through our mission in the community and the work that we do, and personally the work that I do as well. I was a student athlete. I know how sometimes we were accepted and sometimes we were not. Sometimes we were talked about saying you just dumb jocks. Just shut up and dribble and all those things. We have a voice. We have a voice. HBCUs teaches us about leadership, teaches us how to work together. It exemplifies what happens when you have professors that really care, who knows your name. You're not just a number in the school. And then they support you throughout your career. You know, so that's the power of HBCUs and the networking opportunities that it provides. So it's never too early for the student athletes to start networking or start sharing with people what they want to do, because eventually the ball will stop bouncing. So what are you gonna do after that? How can we support you? But we can't support you. We don't know what it is that you want to do. So they can truly use their voices and also show up, not just on social media, but show up in the community, what we were talking about earlier. Show up in the community to show the young people, the ones who are looking up to you, you know, why it's important to give back to the community, why it's important that they go to the schools and that they go to events and they are supported. So all those things are important. And the last thing is, again, to just tell your story. You'll be amazed of how much support you will get just by sharing what it is that you're passionate about and what it is that you want to accomplish by helping others.
Very good. Thank you. I was going to ask one more question of Mr. Silence, but I just want to give a shout out. I'm also Ready to Do Better Than You, and by Will Packer, our FAMU alum. And I met this young man, Kobe, yesterday. We were in the hotel sitting, grabbing something to drink, and he's also reading. But I highly recommend you all get it. It's a great book, life lessons that Will Packer has learned that I think are applicable to anyone.
I would just want to affirm, when we see young people, we saw Kobe last night at our hotel and we just engaged him, right? Like,
probably thought we kind of strange.
He was like, who these middle-aged people just talking my head off? But we just really know the power of young people and the need for us. I mean, that's really what HBCU All Stars is about. It's investing in young people. That's the vision. How could you be wrong for that? Right? And so I just want us to be intentional throughout this weekend as we see our young these athletes. Encourage them. They are the top tier. That's it. And I just want us to just feel that, and just seeing Kobe here and seeing him just be here throughout and not get up and, you know, think about all the stuff that's going on right now for a 20-something-year-old in the city of San Antonio, and here we are. Wow. Here we are. If we could get a word of encouragement as an elder, because you have seen the ebbs and flows, you have seen us through some difficult times, but I always think it's so critically important that we hear from one of our elders that can allow us to see again that all is not lost, and that we can build, rebuild, and do what's necessary to be a self-determining people.
Let me say this. I went to we had several Black Lives Matter protests here in San Antonio. One of them was right in front of the River Center Mall, and I think I was the oldest guy there. And we all laid down. We did what they call dying, and all laid down in the middle of the street. And they had to help me get back up. But we all died in. And so it's important for people who live in a different generation, who were shot at, beat, dogs bitten by dogs, water hose, shot at, threatened. I was threatened the other day, walking down the hallway. Some guy, and let me tell you, they think they can scare us. Yes. And I'm glad you said that them ladies wasn't afraid of nothing. Yes. Young folks have got this courage that is makes me feel so good. Yes. When I saw them young folks in Ferguson, Missouri, when that man was killed, when I saw them stand face to face, toe to toe with thousands of cops and not show any fear at all. But did that remind me of 1960? It sure did. So I'm seeing young people put forth that kind of courage that people had back then. I'm seeing it now. I mean, Colin Kaepernick, I'm seeing courage being displayed now that we had then. So I ain't mad at young folks. I love them because they have shown that spirit to learn what we went through, to not forget it, but then fight the new battles that need to be fought. Because they got a whole lot of new battles to fight. And I'll be there with them. I ain't going nowhere. I love the good trouble. And I'll fall down with you. You might have to help me get back up. But I'll fall down with you because the older generation has to stand with the young folks who have decided to stand up for their freedom with courage and with a fight back spirit. Otherwise, nobody will remember your name.
We have time for a couple of questions from the audience. If you have one, we'll bring the mic to you. I know that the hour is late. As you all can see, we have had some incredible panelists that have just come and offered up. And if you have a question, we'll bring it to you. Anybody? Everybody's like, y'all have eaten from Tony G's and y'all ready to go to sleep?
They are processing. They are processing all of this information that we shared tonight. I don't think that I think folks are fired up and what?
Ready to go.
What?
Ready to go.
Fired up and what?
Ready to go.
I can hear the folks in the back. Y'all don't sound like you fired up. We fired up and what?
Ready to go.
All right.
If you all could each close us just with a word, a word of encouragement, a sentence, a word that just leaves us something to walk away with, that will inspire us, and we're gonna ask our sister if she would close us with another song if she got another one in us, because she lit it up before y'all got here. Oh man! So we just want to lift that spirit and be ready for tomorrow, and keep moving forward. So yeah,
I'm sorry. I just want to say that the HBCU experience, you guys have no idea what this means for those student athletes. Yes. So please, if you haven't bought a ticket, buy a ticket. If you bought a ticket, buy another one. Find a friend to give it to, and let's pack the house and sell out Freeman Coliseum, because when those student athletes run out on that court and see a packed, that will encourage them beyond the game in itself. So please, spread the word. Get on social media and let people know, like, these are last minute buyers anyway. So they didn't have any plans. So hey, come on out and join us. And for those of you who have relatives that are not here in San Antonio, call your family and say, hey, tune in to CW, tune in to Peacock. And let's show these student athletes some support so that we continue the mission, the God-driven mission that Mr. and Mrs. Williams have set forth. So let's support our HBCU student athletes.
Right. That's a good word.
Because of them, we can. So this is my history lesson for tonight. Everyone has heard of Harriet Tubman, right?
Yeah.
So Harriet Tubman carried a gun. But she didn't carry a gun for the reasons that you may think. It wasn't so the slave catchers would meet their demise. She carried the gun to keep people from turning back and jeopardizing the mission. We are at war. Our babies are at stake. We need to show up for them, as Natalie said. We need to support the Williams, but we also need to understand the urgency of the moment.
Yes.
We cannot turn back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna go on a different tangent for a second. You know, Travis, when we started this, Mauli said to me, when your question I asked, be concise and keep it short. And I've counted over the years, and I think I've spoken the least of anybody. All right?
But you always here.
but I'm here. But here's my point. The reason is because there's passion in everyone speaking. A lot of knowledge that need to be told. So what I would say to you is that if you have that passion, don't allow it to be stifled. It's okay to say it. Because the more we talk about it, the more we understand and the more we can come together and do something together.
Good. Thank you.
We have to obviously support all of our black colleges and universities. They've served a number of people. I think of Tom Nishi Coach. Did a number of things for the Black Panther, the movie, the Black Panther, the comic book, the Black Panther. And the fact that his daddy was a Black Panther, remember the Black Panther program?
Yes, sir.
And so remember whose shoulder we stand on.
Yes.
And sometimes we stand on shoulders that are younger than we are. Because like I said, young folks have this ability, and they've shown it to me, that they're willing to fight.
Yes.
So we've got to support them, those of us who are older, to help me get up before. We've got to support them 100%. So I'm not going to take any kind of position that's going to be opposed to them when they're fighting so hard for all of us.
Yes.
So we've got to support all of those fighters, and I'm going to call them fighters for liberation.
Yes.
We've got to fight for the fighters of liberation, support the fighters. We've got to support our troops in the field. And our troops in the field are the young folks who continue this fight that started so long ago during the days of slavery, and it ain't over yet. It ain't over yet.
Thank you. Can we give them a round of applause, everybody? Give it up. I can stand up. I'd ask that our first panel come back up. I'd ask the Williams to come up as well so that we can get a photograph. Brother Marty, would you come up tomorrow? We have another part of the social justice initiative of HBCU All-Stars is the Black Man Lab. We'll be here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. here at Tony G's. Brother Marty, you want to just explain very briefly as we have our folks coming up?
And then after we take the photo, we're going to hear our song.
Yes.
The Divine One.
Is gonna close us out.
Oh, platinum recording artist. So I messed up her introduction earlier, but she is the Divine One, and we're so happy to have her here.
Voice is divine indeed. So yes, as Brother Molly talked about, the Black Man Lab is an organization that we have in Atlanta where over 100 Black men get together every week of all ages, all walks of life. And we just have discussions in a space that we call a safe, sacred, healing space for Black folks, where we are able to build together. Wherever the HBCU All-Stars game has been, we've come and we've done the Black Man Lab in those spaces as well. So tomorrow we'll be here at Tony G's at 10 o'clock in the morning. So it'll be 10 to 12. We'll have breakfast, but we're gonna have some enriching conversation about how do we build together, all ages, all walks of life, right? Literally in Atlanta, when we do this, we have multi-millionaires in the room, and we have brothers that have just gotten out from behind the walls. We got kids as young as 5 years old and elders as old as 85 years old in the room. And we're in a space safe and sacred and healing for ourselves so that we can build together. The idea here is, as everybody up here has talked about, what's essential is, and we say it every week in the Black Man Lab, we got everything we need in the room to change the world.
Amen.
We just have to believe it,
Yes.
right? And do the work to get there. So if you can be here tomorrow, if you know a brother, get in here at 10 o'clock tomorrow. We ain't turn nobody away from the door. It'll be 10 o'clock, 2 quick hours of power. And we're gonna build and continue to grow. Everybody good?
And free breakfast.
Yeah, we said free breakfast. Free food. More free Tony G's food. All right.
Can we see everybody? Come on, April, we gotta come up now.
All right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let me get out of
right.
Yeah.
All right.
He's gonna close us out. Divine One is gonna close us out.
I will sing my original song.
I heard a shout from Zion, people praising the Lord. To tell others come, and we are blowing His horn. I hear the streets in there, they are paved with gold. 12 gates to the city, in the New Jerusalem. I heard a great voice shout from heaven to behold. In a voice of great triumph, Jesus is Lord. In the last day, when the grave book is open, you gotta be saved before the last word spoken. People don't talk about heaven no more. How the King of Kings and the Lord of the Lord is coming. He's coming. Don't wanna be called and your soul get lost. Your name not written and you pay the cost. He's coming. We read all things ahead. We're gonna sing it loud. There's nobody there. We'll be singing and shouting of how we've been redeemed. Giving God praise. He's the King of Kings. No more crying there. We will all be free. See whatever right hand. The Lord is free. In heaven, God will reign. We'll be free from pain. In heaven with the Father, we will stay. People don't talk about heaven no more. The King of Kings and the Lord of Lords is coming. And the Lord of Lords. Don't wanna be called and your soul get lost. Your name not written and your pay. He's coming. Oh, how we love you, oh Lord, I pray. Lord, we love you. Came down from heaven so we sacrifice your life in exchange for the right, Lord. So now in heaven we'll live by some life. There are 12 gates in the city, 3 gates in the east, 3 gates in the west, 3 gates in the north, and 3 gates in the south. I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna go there. Don't you wanna go, don't you wanna go, don't you wanna go, don't you wanna go. People don't talk about heaven no more. How the King of Kings and the Lord of the Lords is coming. Don't wanna be called.
We got all one. We got to play that. We got to get that. We have a prayer call. We have a prayer call.